Caitlin, what can you tell us about, number one, what Trump is saying, and number two, what you have heard about this supposedly him putting this out, that he is the target of the January 6th investigation?
Yeah, guys, so we have been watching to see what's bubbling behind the scenes because it's felt like something has been ripe in this January 6th investigation being conducted by the special counsel's office for some time now. And indeed, we are getting this statement from Donald Trump posting on Truth Social, also sending out a statement saying that the Justice Department, the special counsel Jack Smith, has sent him a letter stating that he is a target of the January 6th grand jury investigation. So that's a federal investigation that has been for months looking into both his actions in the White House, other actions that he may have taken after the 2020 election, as well as actions of others around him, fake electors, all kinds of different schemes that were to support Donald Trump and overturn his loss in the election. Those things had been investigated, and he is saying he has received a target letter giving him 4 days to appear before a grand jury. We believe that grand jury would be in Washington, D.C., if he would choose. And I should step back and explain what a target letter is, because it is one of the things that the Justice Department does at the very end of an investigation. It lets someone know, yes, we are looking at potentially charging you. We are very close to a charging decision, and we want to make sure you have your rights preserved, and that if you want to come in as the target of this investigation, as someone who could be charged, very likely would be charged, if you want to come in and explain yourself on the record to the federal grand jury that has been looking at you as the potential target, as the person possibly charged, you have the opportunity to. And so Donald Trump is saying that he received this notice on Sunday night and is being given the 4 days to consider whether he wants to come into the grand jury. Like I said, one of the last things that typically happens in an investigation like this, a very similar thing played out in the weeks before Donald Trump was indicted in the Southern District of Florida in a separate investigation, in that documents investigation that we're also watching for activity on today. But this is the January 6th investigation, one where we've watched the grand jury closely. It appears it is coming to an end. And now this very firm signal from the Justice Department, from the special counsel, that Donald Trump may be indicted related to January 6th, his actions after the 2020 election, and giving him a final opportunity to come in and speak to the grand jury if he chooses. He did not choose to do so in the Florida investigation, also conducted by Smith's office, related to the documents held at Mar-a-Lago after the presidency. It does not appear that he is happy with receiving this news. He's quite offended, saying it's horrifying news and that it happened on Sunday night when he received notice from his attorneys. He was with his family. And so at this point in time, there isn't really an expectation Trump would go in and speak to a grand jury, but we are going to be watching very closely what happens in the federal courthouse in Washington in the coming days. We know that there's a grand jury meeting today that has been investigating Trump and January 6th, and it sounds very likely that they also may be meeting this Thursday and could be looking at a potential indictment of the former president for actions he took at the end of his presidency to hold on to power.
Caitlin, thank you so much for bringing us that. Just to recap the big news that we're laying out in this social media post, Donald Trump says Sunday night he received a letter from the special counsel saying that he is a target of the January 6th grand jury investigation. And now, obviously, as Caitlin is laying out, very big questions of what this means going forward.
Let me read the Truth Social post here so people can figure out what exactly was said. Again, this is said by Donald Trump. At this point, he is the source of this information. He wrote, deranged Jack Smith, the prosecutor with Joe Biden's DOJ, sent a letter. Again, it was Sunday night, stating that I am a target, and targets in all caps, of the January 6th grand jury investigation, and giving me a very short 4 days to report to the grand jury, which almost always means an arrest and an indictment. That, again, was the statement posted by Donald Trump himself, who is right now the source of this information, that he is a target of the January 6th investigation, which is a major development. If so, let's go to Paula Reed. I understand we have Paula Reed, who's in Florida, who can weigh in on this. Paula.
It is incredibly significant because Special Counsel Jack Smith is conducting 2 separate investigations into the former president and some of his associates. One of those is into the possible mishandling of classified documents. That's why we're in Florida today. There is a hearing, the first hearing before the Trump-appointed judge who's going to oversee that case. In court today, we expect them to talk about a trial date, which is significant because at the core of Trump's legal strategy is an effort to delay this trial at least until after the 2024 election. Now, he's also under investigation for efforts to overturn the 2020 election, and it was not clear. It was just not clear if he would be charged. But as he indicates in this statement, which we have not verified independently with the special counsel's office, he suggests that he has received a target letter, which he is correct, usually means that an indictment is going to be coming soon. Now, he has the opportunity to go before the grand jury. It is unlikely he will do that. He did not do that after receiving a target letter in the Mar-a-Lago investigation. But it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few hours here, because his legal team, they're expected in court here in Florida in just a few short hours, likely going to face a lot of questions from reporters who are here to cover his other ongoing criminal trial.
All right, Paula Reed in Florida. Stand by. Much more for you in just a moment.
All right, let's go to our Ellie Honig, who is here to give us some sense of what all of this means. First of all, Donald Trump making very clear this is his statement. We have not confirmed that this actually has happened yet, but saying he's received this target letter and that it definitely means he's going to be arrested and charged. Is he correct?
He's mostly correct, assuming that this is true, assuming that DOJ has actually sent a formal target letter. What that means is that DOJ believes Donald Trump is a, quote, putative, meaning a very likely defendant, and that DOJ has evidence linking him to a crime. You do not have to send a target letter at the Justice Department, but it's common practice. And we know Jack Smith sends target letters because within a week or so of the Mar-a-Lago indictment, Jack Smith did, in fact, send a target letter to Donald Trump. So assuming that has happened again here, this is a very telling moment into this investigation.
What's the process now?
So the process is Jack Smith has sent this letter. Donald Trump will, again, assuming the truth of this, be given 4 days to appear in the grand jury if he wants. He will not do that. That would be incredibly self-damaging to do that. Jack Smith now can control if and when the grand jury votes on an indictment. Assuming he gets to a point where he believes I've given the grand jury my evidence, Jack Smith can then go into the grand jury with a draft indictment saying, here are the defendants I propose to charge, here are the charges I propose to bring, and then instruct the grand jury as to the law, and then take a vote from the grand jury. And assuming they vote yes, which grand juries almost always do, then we will have an indictment. Now, it could be sealed for a while, meaning there could be a moment in time where we know that there's an indictment, but we don't actually get to see it. So that's what we're looking at. And again, according to this, on a fairly short time frame.
In the Mar-a-Lago documents case, he received a target letter. He was indicted.
Within days.
Within days. In this case, he is saying he received a target letter. That is why there is an expectation that he could be indicted. In the Mar-a-Lago documents case, his lawyers also went in to meet with Justice Department lawyers to basically talk him out of, charging, which is what happens. We don't know if there's been that meeting. Would that happen before or after a target letter typically?
So there's no rule on that. You typically would give a person's defense lawyers a last chance to come in and try to talk you out of it. That did happen in the Mar-a-Lago case. We don't know if that's happened here. It's possible that that happened and we don't know about it publicly. It's possible they did it by a phone call or a Zoom or some location that we weren't able to spot it. But both of those things, given Jack Smith's tendencies, would signal endgame to me.